What them haters talking about?
What's up, family? Nearly 4 years after protests in Ferguson raised questions about police corruption and racial profiling of blacks in Missouri, a report from the state attorney general's office shows that blacks are 85% more likely to be pulled over than whites, the highest percentage in 18 years that the state has compiled data. Attorney General Josh Hawley on Friday released his office's annual vehicle stop report. The disparity index, comparing traffic stops among races, showed a jump from last year, when blacks were 75% more likely than whites to be stopped. Police treatment of blacks in Missouri was scrutinized after Michael Brown, a black unarmed 18-year-old in the St. Louis suburb of Ferguson, was fatally shot by a white officer on August 9, 2014. The shooting and the decisions not to charge the officer who shot Brown, Darren Wilson, resulted in months of often violent protest and was a catalyst for the national Black Lives Matter movement. The shooting also prompted a U.S. Department of Justice investigation. A Justice Department report released in March 2015 cited racial bias, profiling in Ferguson's policing, and a profit-driven municipal court system that frequently targeted black residents. Bam! There you have it. You know, the state of Missouri has some of the most organized white supremacist groups in the United States. Missouri is like a breeding ground for them. Bunch of them up there, man. A whole bunch of them. This is the result of centuries of slavery and racial oppression that has created conditions ripe for this sort of societal phenomenology, which also serves to shed light on the conspicuously disproportionate representation of blacks within the ranks of inmates incarcerated on U.S. plantations. Well, some of you may refer to them as prisons or correctional facilities, but we all know the game. They're plantations. It's modern day slavery. That's all it is. Now, for some of you dummies out there who like to say stupid shit like 13% of the population responsible for 80% of the crime, they come up with all kind of numbers. Sometimes the numbers are 80, sometimes it's 90, sometimes it's 71, 78. I don't know where they get this shit from. But there's a lot of research out there, whole lot of data out there, you can't miss it, that clearly talks about how police and law enforcement agencies all over America police for profit, right? So if they're policing for profit and there's data out there, a plethora of information out there that supports the conclusion that law enforcement unfairly targets black people. They profile black people. How does this happen? Oh, it's very simple. Where you going? What you got in the car? You mind if I search your car? Where you coming from? Who's at your house? What you have for dinner? Why are you looking like a deer in headlights? Cause you got your damn squad car spotlight on me, fool. Get your hands out your pocket. How come your hands in your pocket? Cause it's cold, fool. You know, this is what they do. They will pull you over and harass you. Hey man, if you mess with somebody long enough, you can make an arrest. If you bother somebody long enough, you can make an arrest. Because at the least, you're going to get them to have an attitude at some point. Now, it's you being detained and you're resisting arrest, disorderly conduct. They can hit you with a charge if they want to hit you with a charge. It's very simple. They're racially profiling black people, not necessarily because they suspect them of committing a crime. It is because they need to put on record that they committed a crime so that they can continue to run the machine. What is the machine? State, municipal, local, fire department, salaries, police salaries, fixing potholes in the street, building new streets, construction, city. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Luxury taxes, hotel, all this stuff. All of this comes from writing those tickets up and throwing people in jail. That's where it comes from. Now, so for all you dummies out there that say stupid shit like, well, 85% of black people being pulled over equals 85% of the crimes being committed by blacks. You dummy, I just told you. If the shoe was on the other foot and white people, anybody else was being profiled, well, Hispanics do get profiled too, but let's stick with white folks for right now. If white folks were being profiled like blacks, if 85% of white folks were being profiled, more white folks would be in jail. Way more white folks would be in jail than black. Otherwise, how do you explain that white folks are less likely to get pulled over by the police than blacks and Hispanics, but they're more likely to have contraband? Come on, dummies. Put your thinking cap on. Come on. You're always throwing statistics out and shit. Throw a statistic on that. You can't. Cold-blooded, man. But I'm not surprised that this happens in Missouri because Missouri is a red state. And a red state means more Trump supporters. More Trump supporters means more racist, more stupid shit. That's how it goes. No more talk.
What the haters talking about?